Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Karin from Extraordinary.fitness and today I'm going to show you 3 different entrances into the hip hold. I think you probably are also one of them, like me was, when you stand in front of the hoop and you're like, how do I get into the hip hold? Kind of sitting and all these things make sense, but coming into that hip hold can feel really weird. And when you stand in front of the hoop, you're like, where am I actually? I have seen it with my students. I have noticed this many times and I realized that it's not that easy as it looks in the beginning to get into the hip hold in a direct way or in a more complicated way. So this will be today's tutorial. But before we start, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below and share it with others so we become more people interested in aerial hoop and get a bigger community. Let's start. The first one is if your hoop is quite low and you really want to get into the hip hold to start, maybe afterwards go into the walking man, into a split or something else. So it's like a direct get into the hip hold. So you have the hoop in front of you. That's number one. You are not in the hoop like this. You will turn to the side. You're standing on the side of the hoop. And normally, like for the Lyra and all these things, you put your outside leg, the leg which is further away, over the hoop. This time, you will take your first leg and you will put it over the hoop, which means if you don't bend it, something like this will happen. And you have no clue where you are. That's what I see with my students quite sometimes, that they don't really know how to get into the position, which is actually the hip hold, which means it's actually a straddle inward position. So if you think about that you have to come into a straddle inward position, that you're standing on the hoop almost beside and kind of do a straddle inward, you end up in the hip hold. So have your hands in front of you, maybe quarter two. Don't have it too high because you want to come on the bottom of the hoop. The position of the hip hold will be a little bit on this side if you're standing here, and on the other side if you're standing there. So hands in front of you on the hoop. You can have them bent, it's easier. And then you kind of pass the hoop in the back, and then you do an inward. So what I tell my students is that they should think about getting their knee to their shoulder through the hoop. So that would look like this. You can do it first with bent knees, it's easier and helpful. So getting your knees to your shoulder. And then you're already there. You basically just straighten your legs and you slide into the hip hold position. And there you are. For the hip hold itself, there is tutorials, but just remember it has to be in this position here. So you can't be, if you're on your thigh, it will hurt and not hold properly. If you are on your stomach or in your bow, it will also not hold. So it's really just here where you put the hoop. So one more time, hands in front of you. So you take your knees up behind the hoop and you get them through the hoop. You're already in an inverted position. Straighten your leg, slide down, and there you are. Yeah, this was the first position. So give it a try. Like always, try to do the things on both sides so you get used to it and not just have one side of your body really developed and the other side not. Second one would be that you are turning yourself over and come on your stomach. Again, it sounds super easy, and when someone does it, it looks very easy, but when you do it yourself the first time, you're kind of confused. So think this time that your hands are going to slide down the hoop, and even your upper body, so your whole upper body is going to go behind the hoop. You kind of want to like look past the hoop on the other side, and you will have to roll over your hip. So you will turn over the entire hip. So look past the hoop, roll over this bone, slide down with your hands, and then you take your knee out, and again, you are in the hip hold. So, one more time. You're sitting on the hoop, take both hands to one side, look past the hoop, roll over the side, take the knee out, which is further away from the hoop, and you are in the hip hold. The third one is a little bit more tricky or a little bit more decoration in it. So you're sliding back, hands are here about 11 and 1 o'clock, slide back in your knee pit, and then you cross one leg, you choose which one, behind the bar. So you lift your leg off, you put it behind the bar. This is number one, put it behind the bar, and then you kind of slide your legs and you straighten them. So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling myself up, and as you can see, my legs are twisted and really straight. There I have to switch my hand. This switch I have to do, and I slide further down. My legs are still straight, they are sliding down all the way. My head is going past the hoop to the other side. I'm sliding my hands down, and now very important, this leg is going over to that side, and this leg is going along the hoop all the time along the hoop And again, I'm inverting. So this time, as you can see, one time you invert under the hoop. Next time you turn inside the hoop. And in the last one, your leg goes over the top into an invert position. So there you have 3 different ways to go into the hip hold, depending on where you are, depending on which move you want to do, and depending maybe in which level you are. As you can see, the last one is maybe the most tricky one, because you have to really push your legs down. And often what the problem is that you're not sliding the hoop high enough up on your thigh, and that you don't turn your hip enough. If you do this, that you really have straight legs, slide and turn your hip, your butt basically to the other side, then it gets kind of natural that you grab, you have to change the hand, and that you in front of the hoop go down with your upper body. The next thing, which often happens in this moment, which I have noticed, is that you're sliding back, lifting your leg over behind the hoop, straightening the legs, turning your hip, your hip goes there. Now I'm turning here. So now if you don't really work this leg over there and stay here close to the hoop, what happens is that you are falling out, and you will fall out to that side. So you have to stay here. All my pressure is here. I'm pushing my leg down and I'm pushing it over to that side while I'm here. This leg is kind of just following up here. The main focus is that my body and everything is on this side of the hoop. Even though I'm here, I'm pushing over there and I'm coming down. And there I am. This is my 3 entrances in the hip hold. Give it a try. Share your try with me on Extraordinary.fitness on Instagram. And thanks for watching. See you next week for a new tutorial, and have fun.